Again, yes. This is how we're starting the new year, so we can only go up from here. So, where's my thing at? Normally it plays when I don't want it to play. Yeah, that's it right there. Chris is preaching. That's what you should hear. So, Happy New Year to everyone. Everybody had a good New Year's Eve, New Year's night. I hope so. You're all here, so that, well, all of you that are here, hopefully you didn't stay up too late. So, but anybody make any resolutions this year? You start off, this is what I'm going to do. Every year, people make New Year's resolutions. You know, they make some resolution by saying, I'm going to lose weight. And so there's a dedicated, I'm going to lose weight. That's me. I'm going to lose weight. That's what they say. I think I read somewhere 22% of people that make resolutions, that's the number one thing for 22% of the people that make resolutions, they're going to lose weight. So they buy books. 3 months later, the book is sitting on the shelf, and they done gained 10 pounds. It hasn't worked out for them. The number two thing people make resolutions for is exercise. They say, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get in shape. So they go buy a gym membership or they buy some equipment, like a NordicTracker or something. 3 months later, they haven't been to the gym in 2 months. And the NordicTrack is sitting in the corner collecting dust or got clothes hanging over, and it's become a very expensive clothes hanger now. The third thing people pick when it comes to New Year's resolutions, is that me? Keep going. I'll just keep talking. It doesn't bother me. But the third thing people pick is that I'm going to be fiscally responsible. This year, I'm going to save money. I'm going to, not go to Starbucks every day. That's what I'm going to do. 6 months later, they're trying to figure out how to pay for the diet books and the exercise equipment they pay for on the credit card. See, a proper perspective when you make a resolution is how you can do your resolution. If you have a proper outlook on what it is that you're trying to do, then you can accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to do. If you don't, like if I know if I need to lose weight, I need to stay away from sugary drinks and bread. Those are my two weaknesses when it comes to losing weight. How do I do that? My wife is a keto expert now, and so she said if you eat a lot of meat, you won't be hungry, you won't be tempted to eat bread. And so I actually lost weight on that because I got a proper perspective on how I can lose weight, not just simply saying I'm going to lose weight. So when we have a proper perspective on things, that helps us to accomplish the goal that we've decided that we want to set out for ourselves. Perspective comes from the Latin word. I'm going to use Latin today. It's called prospectus. And that's where perspective comes from. Perspective means to clearly see or clearly look at something and to know all about it, basically. So if we want to know all about something, we have to have a proper perspective on something. So if we want to have a good resolution, we need to have a proper perspective. And when we talk about a godly perspective on things, we need to look at things through a godly lens when we're trying to do things. Like a godly perspective on losing weight would be not worrying about what you eat between Christmas and New Year's, but worrying about what you eat between New Year's and Christmas. That would be a godly perspective on losing weight because you're trying to see the big picture. If I'm worried about what I eat for 51 weeks, instead of worrying about what I eat for 1 week, I'll be more prepared. And so when we have a godly perspective on things and we have a godly perspective on our lives, we can see things better. So what does a godly perspective look like when it comes to life? And we can look at life. We take life and we look at life. We can say life is hard. Life is not easy. The devil is after us. All these things. Let's put it in a proper perspective. Let's say you're on a journey and you don't have a choice on the journey you're going on. You're on it, whether you like it or not. You're on this journey. And the journey you're on is a dangerous journey. It's full of traps, full of enemy encampments, full of strongholds, full of all kinds of things that are trying to kill you, deter you from making your goals, whatever it is you're after. And you won't be able to accomplish it if you get caught up in any of these traps. That's life. And you say, that's kind of hard. Well, when we think about it and we look at a godly perspective through it, there's a map. The map tells you where all the traps are, where all the enemy encampments are, where all the strongholds are, and tells you how to avoid them. That's a godly perspective. So if we look at life through a godly perspective and says life is hard, but I have a map, how would you treat that map? And that would be the question. Would you carry the map with you everywhere you go? Or would you look at the map once a week? Or would you look at the map on Christmas and Easter? Or would you look at the map, very seldomly, ball it up, stick it in your pocket? Or even worse, would you take the map and not believe that the map is true? See, and those are godly perspectives when we look at things. We have a map for life, but if we don't read the map, and we don't believe the map, and we don't study the map, the traps will get us. And all the traps are trying to do is kill us. And they're trying to stop us and trying to deter us, and that's what the map is trying to help us to avoid. So, if we relish the map, we'll survive, right? Correct. See, I heard somebody say, man, it was over this way somewhere. So, now there's other people on this journey also. And the other people on the journey, there's some ahead of us and some behind us. And the people ahead of us are also telling us, hey, see that over there? That's an enemy stronghold. Don't go that way. See that? It's a trap. Stay away from it. And because a lot of the traps you can't see. Most of the traps you can't see. Most of the traps are so ingeniously designed that you will actually pick them up and put them in your pocket and carry them around for a while before you realize it's a trap and now it's got you. You've been carrying it around. But we have other people on the journey that can warn us and tell us, if I haven't read my map, they can remind us, hey, you got a map? Now, here, let me show you this map. Do you know what leads down this path? No, let me tell you what leads down this path, because I've been down there and I had to come back, and now I'm going the right way. As a Christian, that's our job on the journey, is to tell people which way to go. That's a godly perspective on things. Everybody's on this journey, whether you like it or not. The Christian's job on the journey is to tell people which way to go. And we can look at John 14:6. Jesus said, did it come up? There it is. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father before me. It says he's the path. And so if he's the path, us as Christians are to tell people where the path is, how to get on the path. I can't tell anybody the right way to do it. I can just tell you where the path is, because I'm on the path with you. I'm no expert on the path. All I am is a pathfinder. This is the path. Let's go. I know where this path goes because the people in front of me have told me. And people in front of them have told them. And there's this guy named Jesus that trailblazed this path. And if we follow him, we'll get to where we're going. So that's the godly perspective on things. See, when we look at things and we want to get on this path, the path is confusing, because the path that Jesus trailblazed for us is not an easy path. And the path for me, I'm trying to choose the path of least resistance. I'm an electrician. I hate resistance. And so, resistance is not good, somewhat. I'm not going to get into electrical theory here, but, we can go down the right path of least resistance. The only problem with the path of least resistance is it doesn't lead to where we want to go. But the path of more resistance actually leads to where we want to go. So we have a choice. Which path do I take? What is my goal? What am I trying to accomplish? What is the perspective that I have on this? And what resolution will I make when it comes to choosing which path to take? Do I want to accomplish a goal, or do I want no problems? And so that's the choice everybody has to make when it comes to you choosing a path. You have to decide, which path do I want, or which goal do I want to obtain? So another proper perspective on life is deciding what distracts you. What will knock me off the path? When we talk about the path, because it's the new year, you're starting a new path right now. That's what everybody, this is what the new year is. This is going to make everything new. And so I'm going to start on this new path. And so this is one of 23. God, I'm old. And so it is 2023. That just hit me. And And so I have a path to choose. And so what path am I choosing? And what is going to distract me? What is going to knock me off this path? What is going to turn my head? What is going to deter me? What is going to possibly make me not accomplish my goal? And what is the cost I'm willing to pay to go down the path? And those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And those are the godly questions that you have to look for and that you ask yourself. And so a lot of things I look at when I'm deciding, and these are all me. I don't know about you. I'm talking about me. Is what's going to stop me. My biggest one is fear of what it costs and what it takes to go down that path. Do I have what it takes? No. Do I have what is possible for me to get it? Well, I can obtain it. The path is not for me to go by myself. The path is for me to go with someone else. It's a path for me to go with Jesus. The path for me to go with Jesus, can I stick with him? No. Will I fall behind? Yes. And those are all terrible questions that I ask myself. And every day I get up, check the map. I don't check the map every day. I'm lying up here in the pulpit. I try to check the map every day when I'm reminded to check the map. And then I get on the path, and Jesus is like, why are you so far behind? It's because I'm slow and lazy and fat. That's why. But I'm trying. And I get on the path, and I go. That's a Christian's perspective on life, is how we follow Jesus. So another perspective we have to look at is that when it comes to Jesus, do we know really who he is? That's a question. Do we know who God is? God is a great conundrum, we should say. Because you look at the Bible. Here's the Bible. What's the first words in the Bible? In the beginning. This side over here, I like this side. They're active. Y'all got to do better. So this side over here, in the beginning. Do you know that's not the beginning? That's the beginning for us. But before in the beginning, God was. And we have to remember that when we read the Bible and it says in the beginning, it's not talking about God. God didn't just start right here and then everything was created. No, before everything was created, God was. And so we can know who God is, but we'll never know what God is. What kind of being can simply say, let there be and things are? And then what kind of being decides that this lowly creature named Chris can actually get to know who he is, but I'll never know what he is. I will never be able to comprehend what type of being God is. I understand human beings. They're flesh and blood, carbon-based individuals. I've watched a lot of Star Trek, so people are carbon-based. And so, but God is not carbon-based. God is spiritual. God is not even in this realm. How can I possibly comprehend that? I can't. But I can know who he is. And if I know who he is, then I can get on the path, and then I can follow him. And so when I do that, we can start to comprehend, the vastness of God. You've got this, what's the new telescope? The Webb telescope? That's James Webb telescope that's looking out into deep space now, and people are just awed at how much, how big the universe is. God is bigger than that. All of our understanding that we thought we know about the universe just got tripled, doubled, however you want to say it, because of this new telescope. And then God is bigger than that. Yeah, how can you understand it? You can't. So, when we try to understand and grasp God, quit doing that. Stick on who he is, and you'll be all right. He said, follow me. This is the path, follow me. Great. That's all I got to do. And I have to remind myself of that all the time, is that get on a path with God and follow him. I'll miss most of the traps because I'm not perfect. Some of those traps are going to get me. And he's going to be like, didn't you see the trap? Yeah, I saw the trap, but it was so good. It tasted so good. Get out of the trap. Let's go. And so, other perspectives we need to do is we need to see how we look at people. We're looking at godly perspectives here. How we view people is another perspective there's another godly perspective we have to look at. The Bible says we struggle not against flesh and blood, Ephesians 6:12. We struggle not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, authorities, powers of the dark world, and against spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. So if I look at people from that perspective, people aren't my problem. The person that's aggravating me, that's not the problem. The problem is whatever is going on in the earthly realms, in the heavenly realms, and all of those things outside of what the person is doing. They're simply being a conduit for whatever could aggravate me to knock me off the path. So I can't let them. When Ken aggravates me, I have to ignore him. So I pick on Ken a lot when he's here because he's like one of my favorite people, and I honestly do mean that. The Ken boss, I'm one of the few people, I think Marianne and myself might be the only people that actually love him. And so, but, so when I pick on Ken, I'm making fun of him. I keep saying, one of these days he's going to die, and I'm going to be a pallbearer, but I'm just going to have the leg, once we walk down. I'm going to have a small little casket for it, and there'll be other ball bearers, and there'll be me with Ken's leg. So, but, he's a good target because he's right in front of me also. But, we have to have perspective on how we look at people. It's not people that is the problem. It's other things going on. The person might be having a bad day. If they're getting on your nerves, say, what's wrong, dude? Can I help you? That's a hard thing to say unless you have a godly perspective on things. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So when I get afraid to get on the path, I have to remember that fear is not coming from God. That fear is coming from somewhere else. And it's trying to deter me off the path. So as soon as I identify, wait, that's a fear that's not of God, get on the path. Preaching is a fear. I don't like it. And I don't like it not because I'm too old here. I'm not bad at talking in front of people. I can talk. Everybody knows me. Chris will talk you to death. They know that. See? The truth shall set you free, Larry. So, but the problem is, if I'm supposed to be telling people that something that's this important, I don't like the responsibility of it. And that's the truth. That's me. Because it's very important what I tell you, especially from up here or from a stance that I'm trying to tell you from a godly point. And then people are going to look at me and it's like, Chris is supposed to be godly. Look at him over there, doing whatever it is he's doing because it's Chris. And so, but I said, wait a minute. God said, I will use you. Don't worry about what you're saying. Get up there and do what I asked you to do. It's like, fine, I'll preach. And so here I am. So when we have perspective, even secular venues realize that perspective is everything. It says, what does it say? It says the only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. So any situation that you're in, it's the perspective of the situation and your attitude, that's the other thing they say, on how that situation is going to turn out. If you can't control the situation, what you can control is your perspective on the situation. It's only a bad situation if you believe it to be a bad situation. If you don't believe it's a bad situation, it's not a bad situation. I mean, think about it. How do you build muscle? There's Mark. Mark, how do you build muscle? Too late now. Any muscle. You build muscle by tearing it. By tearing it. And you think, that's a terrible thing. Why I got to tear it to build it? Because when it rebuilds, it builds back stronger. And so tearing is not always a bad thing when it comes to whatever it is you want to do. It depends on the perspective. If you're trying to build muscle, you're out there sweating and hurting yourself, and you are literally killing your muscles so that they will build back stronger. So it's always perspective when it comes to the things that you're doing. The other thing that you have to have when it comes to a resolution is willingness. You have to be willing to do whatever it is it takes to accomplish the goal. If I'm willing to give up bread and sugary drinks, I can lose weight. If I'm not willing to do it, I can't do it. It's going to get me every time. If I'm willing to get on the right path, I will avoid the traps. If I'm not willing to get on the right path, the traps will get me. It's a given. Matthew 22, 36, 38. See it up there? Boom. Not yet. There it is. It says, the disciples asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment? And Jesus declared to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. A willingness to love God and to seek favor in him and to know that all of my joy comes from loving and following him is the first step to being on the path. It's the first step to doing what God wants you to do. It's the willingness to accept whatever it is he asks you to do. Romans 5:8 says that while we were sinners, Christ died for us. A willingness to love, seek out, and to talk to sinners is another thing you need to get on the path. Because Jesus came for who? We can try this side. Jesus came for who? Sinners. He came for sinners, us. He didn't come for those who were found. He came for those who were lost. And those are the people that we need to have a desire for and we need to seek out. Because that's who Jesus came for. Those are the people that's off the path. Those are the people we need to say, hey, follow me. This is the path. You're on the wrong path. So God has to break us because we get into our norms. We get into our comfort zones. We get into what we know. And we already determined that if you tear muscle, it's a good thing. Breaking you is also a good thing. Because think about it. If someone is hungry and starving to death, but they're tied up, hands behind their back, mouth gagged, they can't, open or close their mouth, and you put food in front of them, they still can't eat. You still can't feed them because they can't take what you have unless they get broken or freed from the bondage that they're in. And so if we break bondage by talking to people, by freeing them from whatever it is they're in, then they can take what we have for them. And those are the people we need to seek out as Christians. This is from a Christian perspective again. Those are the people we're looking for. Those are the people you should desire to talk to, is the people that are in bondage, tied up, and don't even know it sometimes. So if those are the people we're looking for, the people that are in bondage, the people that are tied up, and we need to have a willingness to seek for those people, how do I do that is the question. What does that look like? Well, I have props, as you can see, because it's Chris. And so let's look at, just a little bit. I've talked through it, but let's just show you what it looks like. Oh, pencil sharpener, if you didn't know what it is. Pencils, if you don't know what they are. So the pencil, if it's on the journey, all these pencils are on the journey. This pencil right here decides, I'm going to follow Christ. God says, you want to follow me? You say, yes. Now the pencil is going, oh my God, what have you doing to me? Woe is be to me, I am dying. I mean, the pencil will go, Old Testament and Old World on you. I beseech thee, Lord, please, And see, and now it's at a point. Thank you, Larry, for putting it out for me. But the pencil is now sharp. And you would ask the pencil, why are you crying? And he says, because you're killing me. He says, no, I'm not killing you. I'm sharpening you. So why are you doing that? He says, I'm trying to get to the part of you that I can use. And it says, well, why are you tearing all other stuff around? It says, because it's not worth anything. Now, you can write on the map and tell people where to go. To whereas if you get this pencil, it's no earthly good to you unless it's sharpened. And as it gets sharpened, the pencil has to go, you know what? I like this or I don't. And from the pencil's perspective, this is bad. Unless the pencil changes its perspective and goes, you know what? If I want to be used in the manner that I'm intended to be used, I need to be sharpened. Because the only thing these pencils are good for that aren't sharp is firewood. They're not good for anything else unless they get sharpened. Because I can't write with it. I can't do anything with it. It doesn't do anything unless it gets to the sharpener. And the sharpener's not nice to the pencil. The sharpener is great for the pencil if it wants to get used for its intended purpose. And a lot of times we don't want to get in the sharpener. And so we're perfectly content with being an unsharpened pencil. And we go, wait a minute, why isn't God using me? Because you aren't willing to get sharpened. Well, have you read your map? Yeah, you're over in the trap. I can get you out the trap, but if I'm going to get you out the trap, I'm going to use you. I'll stay in the trap. I don't want to be used. Well, if you get used, you get sharpened. And once you get sharpened, a sharp pencil, I keep in my hand because I can use it. And it stays in my hand. And I look for it. And when I need something, I go, where's that pencil at? Oh, yeah, a sharp pencil right here. Oh, wait, you're gotten a little dull because you haven't been reading your map. Get in there and you sharpen it and you use it. That's a godly perspective of us. This is what we should be. We shouldn't be unsharpened pencils. We should be sharpened pencils, ready to be used to write on the map, to tell people where to go. And that seems cruel from a different perspective. This is now a good, happy pencil because it's sharp, and it's actually being used for what it was intended to be used for. And the pencil also has no ability to write. It has to get into a person's hand and then be used. Can you imagine this pencil just jumping out of my hand? Like, I don't want to be used today, and I pick it up and keep trying to write with it. I would like, you know what? That's a stupid pencil. We'll get another one. Never going to use that pencil. That pencil is cursed or something. It just jumped out of my hand, So the pencil doesn't have a choice in it being sharpened or being used. You do. That's the thing. But the pencil can't even imagine what you can do with it. Ephesians 3:20, it says, now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh within us. The power that worketh within us in the right hand is able to do not just abundantly above, not just above or abundantly above, but exceedingly abundantly above what we could even possibly imagine. You can't dream of the things that God can use. This pencil has no idea how to spell, or how to draw, or how to do anything. But in the right hands, this pencil is amazing, the things that it can produce. I mean, there are pictures that people draw on pencils that look like somebody actually took a picture with a camera. And in the right hand, it's just a pencil. You're like, amazing. And the Declaration of Independence was written with a quill, but was going to say a pencil for this, thing. Things were written with pencils. War and Peace was written with a pencil or pen, whatever. Quit messing up my terms here. But they were all written by hand, by something that was willing to be used. So what can you write? What can you draw? What can you accomplish if you let God sharpen you and you let God use you and you get on the path that God has directed for you? You could be amazing and you don't even know it. That's the thing. You can be outstanding. You're like, I don't know how that happened. All I did was let God use me, and look what happened. I'm going to get sharp again. It's going to suck, but I'm going to do it. And so back to the pencil sharpener you go. I said, resolutions are challenges is what they are when you boil everything down. It's just a challenge. You're challenging yourself. Somebody's challenging you. You're trying to decide, can I do this or not? Well, there's a way. We all know the way. There's a path. We all know the path. If you don't know the path, there's a couple people that can point you to it I know of. I can point you to it that I know of. But it all starts with a proper perspective on what it is you're trying to accomplish and a willingness to do it. And if you have those, you have a perspective like, I'm going to have to get sharp. And to get sharp, I got to go into the pencil sharpener. And then I have to let the person that's the artist or the poet or the author use me in a manner that they see fit, not me, but in a manner that they see fit. And if I let them use me in a manner that they see fit, I can accomplish not just above my level, not just abundantly above my level, but exceedingly and abundantly above my level. And that's what we're trying to do. New Year's is all about leveling up. I love leveling up. That worked. That segued great. So, but we're trying to level up. I heard a nice joke that says if you count your age as levels, it doesn't sound as bad. So right now I'm at level 52. And so, see, I like this side over here. So, so I'm at level 52 is where I'm at instead of, I'm 52 years old. If I'm at level 52, I should have learned something by level 52 because a level 1 person, they don't have the right weapons yet. They don't have the stuff that they need. They're still looking for stuff. But somebody at level 52, they should have everything they need. They're still looking for a couple things to make them the ultimate warrior, but they're still looking. But they got most of it. So a level 52 person, yeah, I should know something, you would think. Level 12 people, they just now learning. So, but what level are you at? And what level do you want to be? And so the level you want depends on the path you take. And the path you take depends on who you're following. Are they going to get you to level 52? Are they going to get you to the next level that you're trying to get to, whatever it may be? Howard, what level are you at now, Howard? Howard's so high up, he done forgot what level he's at. Level's like, once you get so high, you can only just go so high, So that's where I'm at, So, I'm ultimate warrior level. I don't even fight anymore. I just tell people what to do. Go fight him for me, So, but that's what the level we're trying to get to. And the only way you do that is have a proper perspective and a willingness to do it. And once you have a proper perspective and a willingness to do it, then you can make a resolution. Because now you have all the tools you need. I've looked at it. I know what I have to do, making a resolution. And if that resolution is to follow God, then you know the sharpener is in your future. But if you let the sharpener do what it's supposed to do, exceedingly abundantly above what you could even ever possibly imagine is what you can accomplish. And that's our challenge for the year. That's the challenge I set for everybody if you want to listen to me. Are you ready to take that challenge? Are you ready to let God use you in a manner that you can't even possibly imagine? So everybody knows my sermons are short. Whoa. And so we'll have an altar call now. So I've asked the deacons to come up. And anybody that feels that they have a desire or willingness to let God use them, to be able to let God use you in a way that you can't even possibly imagine. I keep stressing that, possibly imagine. Because you can't imagine what God can do with you. You're like, I'm no good. Yeah, in the right hands you are. So quit worrying about how good you are and worry about what hand am I in and what path am I following so that I can do exceedingly above what God has a willingness for me. Remember, New Year's is about new things. We'll get there eventually. I can speak loud enough that everybody can hear me. Trust me. The New Year's is about new things. We are trying to get rid of the old. We're trying to bring in the new. And if you want the new, you have to do things different than you did before. And that means trust God if you haven't. That means let him use you if you haven't. It means get on a path of more resistance than you've been on and let him use you. If you do those things, I can tell you from my experience and from other people's experience that have been on that path, yeah, it's worth it. If you want new, you got to do things different. If you don't want new, you know what path to be on. But if the New Year's is about new things and you're setting new resolutions, get on the path that leads to new and different things, new and better things, and let God use you. Where's the QR code? We got any announcements? Guess not. So this new year, we shouldn't have any announcements. Nothing has happened yet. So we are, well, I can't hear you. Awana starts Wednesday. So there's a bunch of kids going, yes, it's about time. I'm tired of being home with my mother. So, oh yes. Mm-hmm. So if you didn't hear it, next Sunday after church is the pastor's anniversary. He's been here a year. And so we're having a lunch celebration right after service in Branson Hall. Brand new Branson Hall. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's really pretty. Even coming from me, I was like, you know what? This is kind of pretty. But so right after church, pastor's anniversary celebration next Sunday. Yes, sir. Oh, there the QR code is. Yes. So, what? Yes, and a love offering for the pastor next Sunday also. So make sure, remember that, and it'll be announced again next Sunday. He'll announce it. So, do we have a love offering in the QR code? We should. A love offering for the QR code also. Just write it on there what you want it for if you want to give a love offering through the QR code. If you haven't given your tithes and offering, you can do that anytime, or you can use the QR code to do that also. If you have any questions about the church and church events and what's going on, scan that QR code, and it will tell you everything you want to know. It's pretty fancy, for our new website and everything. So if you want to know things about church, curious questions, salvation questions, anything, scan the QR code. We are is the next thing. And let's do is it up there? There we go. So, our motto for First Baptist Church is, we are, and this is First Baptist Church of Ferguson, where God is exalted, his word is believed, his commands are obeyed, people are people, unity is honored, diversity is valued, love is freely given, and Jesus is known, experienced, and Lord. Go and be fruitful, the Lord said to those, and spread his word. And remember, let God use you in ways that you couldn't even possibly imagine.